Yaasha Moriah here. I am a fantasy and science fiction author, and this is my process video for putting together my February 2021 author bullet journal spreads. So this is January from last month. It has a quote from the book that I was working on at the time, Cursed Hands, as well as a picture of my fire squirrel from the same book. And that's the whole theme, is fire squirrel. So you can see here my calendar. I did not put a lot of stuff in it, and I really should have, but you can see right here that I have, hey, film the sketches for the next bullet journal spread, so at least I'm keeping up with my videos. But I should definitely be using it for more scheduling and stuff like that. It's not that there isn't stuff going on, but part of it is because this new spread here with all the colors, I intended to use that to keep track of my task or to schedule my tasks, but it is a pain in the neck to bring out all those different colors and to remember. And I'm actually using an app called Toggle that keeps track of things better for me, so I think I'm going to dispense with this type of spread and use a different type later on. So you'll see what I'm talking about when I put together my February spreads. Okay, and then I have just keeping track of social media numbers to see if I'm doing well or not and what I can change there. I love the line I'm proud of. I intended to use it more, and I will do this again for February. And it gives good ideas for things to pull out for Twitter quotes or social media quotes, just little tidbits of the work in progress that I'm working on and things that I think particularly show the character of my story. And then moving on to the next spread. Okay, the Unexpected Good. That is my other brand, my Christian nonfiction. I think I'm probably not going to put spreads for that in my author journal anymore because A, it's not with my fantasy and sci-fi brand, and B, it just, I'm still developing what I want to do with that, so it'd be a wasted spread. But my January evaluations, I'm going to show a video or a picture later on to you guys of what that filled in looks like, because it just helps show where I'm heading and how I use things to plan. This spread is pretty cool to me because this is just long form journal entries, how I felt about my writing, what I was doing, what I planned to do, what was difficult about it. You can see I actually had it scheduled in for February calendar because of the pencil there. But I decided long-form journaling was more important, and I left an extra spread there because I'm filming this before the end of the month, and if I have other stuff to add about my writing before the end of the month, then I want to have space to do it there. So that is my January 2021, and now we're moving on to February. I've got everything in pencil so I know what I'm doing and how the layout should look. And then I'm going to go over it with my Micron Fineliner and with my Fudenos, okay, I think I'm saying that right, brush pen, as well as my markers, my zebra Mildliner markers. I love all of these things. And you can see here I'm filling in a black box, and then I'm going to go over it with my gel pen, my white gel pen, Gellyroll 10. And I just love the look. It just pulls the whole thing out. I love it. So this spread, let me tell you a little bit about it. The work in progress that I'm working on right now is called Immersion. Actually, I have already published this as a novella. However, I just always felt like there was more to the story. Like it was too short, that the world was too big for the published version that I have. But I believe in not looking back. I'm kind of like Edna Mode from The Incredibles. I never look back, darling. It distracts from the now. And I think that's really true. However, there are always exceptions to this rule. And I was recently reading a book by Andrew Peterson called Adorning the Dark, in which he talks about how faith and fantasy and creativity and real life all intersect. And suddenly, just out of nowhere, I knew the rest of the story of Immersion. It wasn't a novella, it was a full-fledged novel, and I knew I just knew what I wanted to do with it. And so that's what I am doing this month, is I am doing Immersion. And I'm very excited about it. And it's funny, actually. The main character's name is Paul, and I named him that long before I actually met my husband, whose name is Paul. So it's fun. It's a little trippy, like working with that name in the draft. Well, and I keep thinking my husband, oh no, the character, oh no, my husband, like just getting the two of them kind of mixed up in my brain, even though they're actually very different personalities, so I guess I shouldn't be confused. And then you can see here what I'm doing with the washi tape is I am making a tab so that you can see the little bit that's sticking out from the top. And so when I close the book, you can see I can flip directly to February 2021, and it's like just right there. And so I'm pretty excited about that. I like that feature. And so what I'm doing here for this picture here is, in the story, Paul Graff is a kind of a freelance writer, and he has a consulting space where he talks with clients about the books that they want him to write for them. And so his consulting space is all like teals and beige, and I didn't exactly have a beigey color. You'll see I use this sort of fluorescent peach, but it's close enough, and I love this color scheme. So Paul brings his clients into this consulting space, talks about what their fears and their fantasies and their desires are, and then he writes these custom stories that are, quote, immersive. And this is the immersion age, where when a writer with a certain quality and ability writes immersively, it means that basically the readers of the story live through a virtual reality and basically feel and have a very sensory experience when it comes to the story. So they're essentially living out their fantasy. So what Paul does is he figures out what would be really powerful for that particular reader, and he writes a story about it. Now this comes with a whole host of kind of background scenarios and issues with it that he's not very aware of until later on in the story. So it's fun to me to kind of bring to life some of these scenes from the story. This is his office that is several floors above the local park with its lake and its walking trail across from a bunch of other office buildings and stuff. And it just seemed like a really peaceful thing, which is funny to me because I am totally a country girl. I am not about the city whatsoever, but I don't know, for some reason this just seemed like a very peaceful spot to me, and I like it. I wouldn't mind having an office like that. And then you can see the rest of my other spreads here. If you are part of my Patreon, if you're one of my Patreon supporters, you get to see the full process video of me putting together all these different spreads, and at the same time I am also reading excerpts from the book that I'm working on. So in other words, from Immersion novel length, all the new chapters that are going into it, and that is available for you for $1 a month every month if you wanted to listen to those excerpt chapters and watch the full process video. And if you wanted to get even more stuff, there's like a bajillion other things that you can get depending on what tier of support you want to support me at. And again, I'm going to include like what the filled in version of all these things look like later on in the month, so you can see how I am actively using these spreads to not only record but also to plan my life as an author and to get the most out of my writing time and my very limited time overall, because I am a mom with a busy little baby who's crawling already. What am I doing? So yeah, thank you for joining me here, and I hope to see you next time.